Hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we are going to be talking Season 6, Episode 5, Hold the Door. And joining me today, as always, is not Johnny, but hey, it's Sly the Tank Benjamin, aka Ben from Drinks and Those Things. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Kenzie. How are you? Thank you for having me. When I came up to do a couple of these podcast ones, I was like, and found out season 6, I'm like, I want the door. Just no questions asked. I want the door. I could have gone, Battle of Bastards or any of these other ones. Nope, I want the door.
Yeah, I just planned on the door having Battle of the Bastards to be the big episode for this episode club, because
Yeah.
we're running out of time and we only have 2 Wednesdays left, but B, because
Right.
it's one of the most favorite.
Oh, yeah. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be on.
I
But that's okay. That's okay. Other people deserve a chance, so it'll be a good time.
We'll have a big group to talk about that crazy episode, probably, but we'll enjoy it anyways.
Oh, yeah. No, it'll be a fun time.
This is also quite an emotional episode for a lot of Game of Thrones fans because it comes the end of one of everybody's favorite characters, but that comes way at the end. So we can get all teary-eyed at the very end of this.
Exactly.
So we kind of start off this episode with Sansa receiving a letter from Petyr Baelish, and they have a small meeting. So, what did you kind of think about when this man is back in Sansa's life, per se?
See, this is so covering season 6 or 7 right now on our show. This scene makes me harken back to the strong Sansa, that powerful, I'm going to call you out on your crap. I'm not here to play games and everything. And to see her again revert back in season 7, this scene, going back to and watching this now, really bothers me. Her story arc, our mentality in 7, bringing him back on. Yeah, he saved her ass at the Battle of Bastards, but this is the powerful Sansa. Take no shit, take no crap, and just, put it to him. She has a really strong line of, I still feel it, and I don't mean in my tender little heart. As I stand here speaking to you, I feel what he did to me. When she says that, it's like, oh, wow. It's you can finally start to imagine. I mean, you get the idea of what kind of pain and suffering she went through, but her saying that, and we're 5 weeks, 6 weeks removed, roughly. I mean, we don't know the time frame, but a decent time removed from when she actually was freed from Ramsay to now. And it's just like, and she still, and I believe her when she says she still feels the pain that he put her through.
Yeah, because you could only because you could kind of see it in the episode after she has her wedding night, where she has cuts and bruises and all of these other things. It's like, ooh, it's just painful to watch. And that's just on the parts of her body that was shown to the show. Like, obviously she has her entire chest and legs covered for majority of this. So you don't know exactly what he's doing, and you know how kind of sadistic Ramsay is based off of events of the previous episodes, like killing people alive through dogs and all of these other things. So to have a sadistic man as your husband is not a good thing. And this is where also Baelish admits that he knew stuff about Ramsay, he just didn't believe it, which is hard to think that he even was like, I don't know about him. It's like, really? You're a person who knows everything pretty much about everybody, and you didn't know about one of, I guess, the most famous bastards in the North, being Roose Bolton's son. It's hard to believe in that almost at the same time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it kind of does harken back to the scene when he first drops Sansa off to him. He pulls, they're up on the parapets, and Baelish kind of pulls Ramsay aside. He's like, I don't know much about you, and Ramsay's trying to play up, oh, I'll treat her right. I'll treat her well. And yeah, even at that part, it didn't make sense for Littlefinger to not know about him, but at the same time, he's a bastard. At this point, still he's just a bastard in, the eyes of the world and eyes of everything. So to Littlefinger, even though I think Varys would probably know way more about Ramsay. Littlefinger doesn't, he knows a lot about everything, but he still has that complex of, if you're not something for me to be worried about, then I'm not going to worry about you kind of mentality. So him, not knowing for a fact everything about Ramsay, I in that one aspect, I do kind of believe him that he didn't know, because it, like I said, when he talked to Ramsay in the past, he was kind of feeling him out, and he's like, I've heard things, but does never got confirmation, I guess.
Yeah, and there's this whole thing too that Sansa takes Brienne with her, and it's just like, yes, because she's like, yeah, I could have Brienne cut you down if I really wanted to, and it's like, yes, yeah, like if only that had happened, but it obviously doesn't, and he's just, you can see the slight terror in his face that was like, ooh, yeah, like I can kind of believe it, but yeah, Sansa's having a rough go.
Yeah.
But she'll leave Molestown and the Wall pretty soon. Like,
yes.
if we want to do that, we can always jump there. So the next scene we kind of have with Sansa is, this is like the stuff that I was like, stupid.
Right.
Oh, come on. Now it doesn't want to work. Oh, here we go. It is battle strategy and battle plans. So we obviously have Sansa at the Wall with Jon as of the last episode, and Davos is like, this is what we have, and well, it seems like these are the houses that can back you. What do we do now? And Sansa is very, very sassy. She lives up to her kind of given namesake, and even Jon's just like, well, I guess we got to do, and this is how it's gonna go. So,
yeah. With this particular part of the scene, I like how Davos's response, because Sansa kind of calls him out. She's like, "You don't know the North well, do you, Sir Davos?" And he's like, "I may not know the North, but I know men." And I think even at that moment, Sansa kind of softens a bit to him because of his whole explanation of how, and she's like, the North remembers, and the North will serve the Starks and everything like that. And she's not wrong, but also Davos sees that's why he's such a good assistant, or a good hand, a good advisor, because he sees every angle. But without the Petyr Baelish style creepiness. He sees the self-servingness. He sees every angle, as you should, because you have to watch for it. So he brings up of, yes, they served your father, but when your father's gone, now are they going to take a chance on the bastard son when they know their wives and their children will be flayed and their skin cut from them? So no man in the right mind would, go about that without some sort of confirmation. And so I think Jon, and this is definitely where Jon kind of sees Davos's worth a lot from everything. Sansa, yeah, she's still going to be on the fence about everything, but it's one that she brings up great points of how they will follow her, or at least she gives the name credence and everything. And you start to slightly see her, where you can see where Littlefinger later on starts to manipulate her power struggle, quote unquote, kind of thing, of being Lady Winterfell and all that, where she starts to not believe her own hype, but she kind of starts to, grow into her role, I should say. Sometimes maybe a little bit more so than it's due, but not too awfully, out there.
Yeah, it's one of those, and I guess still it's a power struggle that she and Jon will kind of go through up until pretty much the current timeline that we're in now. It's just that she knows how to politic, and he knows how to do the more manipulation, and not the manipulation, the military aspect of this is what we have to do, and this is the type of strategies we have to use while we're fighting. And yes, he has the name of Snow, while she has the name of Stark, and she brings up the point of, well, they're the same in the eyes of the law, essentially, because even though Ramsay is legitimized, he's legitimized by a person who underlyingly is also of the same status in society. So it's like they're the same no matter what. They're the sons, but it just happens that they're at the same level. And she also talks about how the Tullys have reformed a new army, and obviously she finds that out from Baelish, but she says she found that out from Ramsay, which is the first time she lies, and lies to Jon and Jon's people, even though it's
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I guess she's still doing the Cersei or Littlefinger thing of keeping certain cards to your chest, but I can kind of see why she did it, but I also understand it's like, you didn't need to. It's like, these people are all your friends, not your foes. But
No, agreed. And I love the next scene of that. Brienne calls her out on it. She's like, so you trust Jon, but you lied to him about the, about the information from Littlefinger. And she's like, well, Sansa doesn't even answer. Just kind of glosses over that. It's like, give me a damn answer. Have a good reason for doing that. Fine. But if you're going to trust your brother, your half-brother, to protect you at the wall, with all these rapers and killers and everything, then you should trust him to let him in on some information such as that. I do like the Brienne line of, she's like, I don't mind Jon, a bit brooding, but I guess it's understandable depending on seeing what he's gone through. It's like, yeah, I just laugh. Anytime people call Jon out for brooding, it gets a mark in my book.
Yeah, it's like, especially with Bran, and also it's that underlining thing of all the fans know that he likes to brood, but it's when it's mentioned by other characters. It's just really
exactly
funny. And yeah, because this is where Sansa sends Bran to go meet with the Blackfish, and kind of send the army north, which, as we all know in the coming episodes, it does not work out exactly how it's supposed to.
No, not too well.
Not too well, but there's the attempt. But yeah, Sansa's just, I can still see where people are just like, why is she doing what she's doing? And it's like, well, she's trying. Like, she's giving up the information, but not in the way that it should. And then the last little bit of this is when Jon has now left the wall, and he is giving command to Dolorous Edd, who is one of the most unlikely people to be the 999th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Will they make it to 1,000? That is my question.
There are some decent theories I've heard out there. There's two names I would fully accept as the new commander, but also, honestly, I don't think there's gonna be a wall. Personally, I don't think there's gonna be a Night's Watch after all said and done. That's my hot take for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, and also in this too, it's Sansa giving Jon his, I guess, you're an officially a Stark cloak, and he kind of gives us a weirdly and oddly suggestive comment for a brother, in terms of where the Stark sigil is placed on her dress. It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, I like the wolf thing, and pointing right at her chest.
Yeah.
And everything.
And then it kind of veers right into these two, and with Tormund just looking with googly eyes at Brienne. And yeah, it's just,
I don't care if it's overdone. I find it hilarious. these little bits of comedy spread throughout the show. There's the whole Podrick stuff with the ladies' man pod. All of it, don't care. It's hilarious to me. So
Yeah, it's just one of those funny things, and he's just like, and then she just does not know how to handle it, and yeah.
right, and then the final part of it is you get John passing the power over to Eddard, saying, "Okay, don't let the wall fall while I'm gone." And it's like, "I'll do my best." Well, in hindsight, doesn't look like that happened, Ed. Kind of failed.
Yeah,
But you did your best.
As much as you can. With
Exactly.
the 25 men that are left at the wall, you're doing
Right.
a pretty decent job. And the guy, for comedic relief, goes, "Should we close the gate, Lord Commander?" And he's like, "I'm not the Lord Command." Yeah, close the bloody gate. Like, it's just, you need the comedic moment of after the, yes, we're going off to go fight for Winterfell. And it's just like, yeah, close the bloody gate.
Exactly. Well, he looks around. It's like he's the oldest one there, and like there's all these young boys, and he's like, "Damn it, I am kind of the most senior. Son of a bitch."
Like, god damn it. But yeah, that's kind of where we end off at the wall, is with John leaving with Sansa and everybody else to go on the mission to collect a whole bunch of people. So I guess we'll jump to the next Stark, which happens to be Arya, and she's continuing her blind training, or not blind training,
I was
her,
gonna say it. Yeah.
yeah, her after the blindness training. There we go. And what do you feel about how Arya is being portrayed at this season, especially in these episodes?
So first time through, I was like, "Okay, this is cool. We're getting a little bits of pieces of Arya." And this scene was probably one of the longer scenes of Arya that we get so far in the season. It's like, okay, cool. We're getting into the story finally. Yes. And they started off Arya getting her ass kicked again. And it's like, okay, we get it. I mean, great moves. Credit to Maisie Williams and this other actress. I don't know her name, but the choreography was astounding. They did great fight sequences, especially when the wave throws down her bow and she, starts matrixing her and doing all that. Well done, but it's just like we've seen Arya get her ass kicked many times now. It's like, okay, and like the first time through, like, okay, this is cool. Now on the rewatches, I'm just like, yeah, let's just move on. The fight sequences are good, but it's just like it's just draining and taxing now.
Yeah, it's gone to the point where it's like you could have just done a montage of this and then we catch up with her. It's not like one of those where it's just like every single episode you need Arya in it.
Yeah.
And then later on, the suspension of disbelief with her and the waif in episode 8. Like,
oh yeah, the wayfinator. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the waif and how pretty much she's not treating her very well. And then obviously see the Hall of Faces again, which comes into play near the end of this season. And Jack and just being like, "These are the Hall of Faces," and Arya kind of, it's like, it's almost like Arya having her shopping list of almost like, which face do I want to take? That one? Or that one? Or maybe that one? Like in her head almost. But Jack and she's like, yeah, this is where all those faces go that you end up dealing with the many-faced god.
Yeah, and this is also where he gives her the name of her first target, and he says, the main face god gives a second chance. He does, or will give a second chance. He does not give a third. Basically, he deserves a face. That's all that matters. He doesn't really care whose face it is, but he's owed a face.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I just want a face, and we'll be good. But she's like, Arya's like, okay, I'm up. Fair deal. You got me, so might as well work on it. And that's kind of where we end up near the end with Arya this episode. It's just her continuing to train, which is okay.
Well, this one actually is the first thing of the play. We get yeah.
Yes. I keep forgetting. Yeah. We get the play, which is what Arya didn't get to see actually play out in Westeros, but How do you feel like they did with this and the
So
representation?
I actually, watching this now, I love the workings of this play because it makes you think back to medieval times of, and even and just all throughout history, the victor rule. Tell the the history of the world is written by the victors. And so they want to say Tyrion is the one that killed Joffrey. They want to say that Ned, or this one is actually where Ned tried to usurp Joffrey and everything like that after in front of Ned and everything. And it's well done to the point. I know they do it for comedic purposes as a play itself. It's a comedic play to make people laugh and everything. But the people of Bravos don't know that this isn't how it actually happened. They're watching this as pretty much their news source, and it's telling. So they're spreading the word of Ned Stark being a traitorous, traitorous asshole, moron, and everything, and how Cersei is this kind, loving wife and mother, and all that. And it just that shows how propaganda really can work, even in a comedic sense, a satire sense. If it's not known to be satire, it's very well done. Now, also, really quick note: did you notice Ned, the actor?
Yeah.
We see him again. I just learned this actually a couple weeks ago. We actually see him again. He is one of the guards that tries to capture Tyrion and King's Landing with Davos and Gendry. He's the one that Gendry smashes in the head with the hammer as they're talking, like the fermented crab.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Now I can kind of remember those two scenes. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah, I didn't know that until we covered that one. I was like, and when I watched this one back, I'm like, oh, that absolutely right. That is the same guy. So just wanted to call it. It's always interesting when they bring back people just like Tommen and all that.
The reusing of people is just, hey, if they die in an insignificant or they're not just as like a named character, why not? But yeah, this is also too like with those plays and such. It's like second or third hand accounts of what actually happened. Because yeah, Cersei being such a positive mother, not entirely true. Same thing with the Ned Stark and Tyrion situations. Like that's kind of what happens, but also kind of not. Like the Tyrion representation in these plays is more or less more of the Tyrion from the books, with the whole being crude and more what is it, more like that sexually like rampant with Sansa's more book version of Tyrion rather than the show, because more he's like, I'll stay away even though like I kind of want to, but I'll stay away because you don't want it. Like it's well done. It's kind of a break from the kind of the reality and the way that the story is told in the show, but it's just for Arya to kind of watch all of this stuff play out when she's never seen it or she doesn't know the exact details or the right details. Pretty awesome.
Exactly. No, I absolutely agree. But I love how you can see in her face, she's just like, that is not, she's like, no, she's like, I know this isn't true, even though she might not have been there for, especially the second half. The first half, she was there for pretty much all of it. But the second half, yeah, she was like, I know this isn't how it played out. And we'll talk about it on our next episode of the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, she's dealing with the play, which is kind of a and there she goes, smiling as always. You don't see Arya smile very much.
No, very little. Yeah, like a true smile. You'll see her like do the fake smile every once in a while, but like that's a true funny laugh. Yeah.
The just Tyrion and all of this stuff, and also the introduction of Lady Crane.
Yes.
Really, and Arya realizing that she has to kill off this woman somehow, and using poison is the eventual weapon of choice. Which, hey.
No, absolutely. And one other thought I had, because kind of thinking back to the old Shakespearean days where men played women characters a lot. I honestly thought the person playing Joffrey was a girl, like in the very first shot, in the very first scene, because the heavy makeup and kind of the face, very feminine-esque face, which is fitting for Joffrey. Very feminine face until the very next scene, like it opens up. Nope, that's a dude. Okay. Fair enough. Thanks for putting that on my screen right there. No warning.
Yeah, because HBO, they just
Oh yeah.
put something in there. But yeah, it's just HBO. So we can, now that Arya has seen her target, we can talk about we might as well talk about Theon and kind of get that sort of storyline going. If this will cooperate. We see the kind of sea salt chair.
This is the queen's moot or the king's moot.
The queen, like they're trying to get who gets the vote and who gets the vote rather. And I know, did we have one in the book?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
And because it's been so long.
I actually just went through these chapters not too long ago. So yeah, I like this scene, but because for show wise, it gets the point across. It does it well. For show, it's a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
As a adaptation, time wise, they just couldn't add in everything that should have been. Yara should not have been the first person up there. You're never the first one because there's always going to be somebody else to come in to steal your power. And it's like, it's even the thought process that's talked about. And she doesn't even get to show her badassness. She's like begging her, lords and everything for their, following. And in the book wise, it's, and she's shutting people down. She's like, here, you know what? I'll marry you if you can stand up, you fat ass. Like literally calls out this one fat lord that is, talking trash to her. And she's talking trash and like being funny, and it's very lively scene and everything. And then Euron comes screeching in with this dragon horn, the dragon binder horn that literally killed one of the blowers, like killed the guy who blew it. It turned his mouth to ash, I think they said. And and that kind of plays into the whole, I'm going to go get the dragon queen, I'm going to bind her dragons. And so it's a very consolidated scene. It works again for the show. You're introduced to Euron again, because we haven't seen him for 2 or 3 episodes. We just saw him kill Baelon. When was that?
I think that's in episode 2. He kills Baelon, and I don't think he kind of shows up again, I think, until this episode. If I'm wrong, tell me in the chat.
No, I think you're correct.
But I've been recording a lot of episodes today, so I remember who's placed where and when.
Right. No, I think you're definitely correct. I think we get the scene with Baelon and then this. So as an introduction to him, getting that Baelon scene out of the way made sense. And I like him owning up to it here. He's like, yeah, I killed Baelon. He was weak. He didn't do anything. He got us into 2 wars that we failed for and everything. And he made himself look strong and everything like that. So I'm a Euron fan in the mindset of I like his portrayal. I know a lot of people call him older Pacey for Joshua Jackson looking, and he does kind of look like Joshua Jackson. I'll give it that. But I like this portrayal of Euron because he's a funny, sadistic kind of guy. And they don't really play up the sadistic stuff as much. Because trust me, book wise, there's some nasty Euron this. But show wise, I like this portrayal because it ties into, because we lose Joffrey, we get Ramsay. Now we're going to lose Ramsay here shortly, and now we have Euron. They do assholes well. I think that was my note for the show for this scene. They do assholes really well, and Euron's just the next progression of that asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Like Euron is just he's like kind of the in between, like they kind of, for the show at least, make him the in between Joffrey and Ramsay almost. It's like they're like not too one way, but not too the other way just yet. But you never know. Season 8 can bring him more to the Ramsay side, but I highly doubt it's this late in the game. But yeah, Euron's just like, it's almost his next build me 1,000 ships on an island that has no trees. Smart. Being smart, smart man there. But yeah, he's just on ideas. And a lot of people also call him the hot topic because of all the leather and stuff, especially later when he's not in his traditional ironborn outfit or uniform.
Yeah.
There you.
No, agreed. And I did like the drowning scene that we get, because I guess they did it with Theon. Did they do it with Theon back in season 2, right before he went off? I know in Bookwise he was drowned, but I
I
can't
think
remember.
he did it in the show. I can't remember now, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they did drown him
Okay.
at some point, or at least pour water on his face at some point.
Yeah. He knelt. That's it. That's what it was. He knelt down and was like baptized in the water. Euron was drowned, and so I like them showing that how the seriousness of their faith is, because technically here he's dead, and they're waiting for the drowned god to bring him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. I kind of like that they omitted the kiss of life that Euron talks about having to give to most followers, because it's basically CPR. Well, it's CPR is what he's talking about, and so I like how they kind of make it more spiritual, more kind of magical. Of Euron just spits it up himself, and it comes back on his own, kind of thing. So I like that aspect of this. And then of course he wakes up and he's like, "Where are my niece and nephew? Let's go kill them."
Yeah, exactly, and it's that whole thing of being the chosen one. But obviously, Euron is crazy, and Theon and Yara have taken all the best ships and just got out of Dodge. That's where we kind of
all of but one of the best ships. Silence is still there. The best ship is still there. So, no, but no,
Euron ship. There's like all of a sudden, but yeah, they take all the best, pretty much all the best sailors and most of the best ships. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then Euron, he gets his crown and he's like, "Follow me, and we'll be all good." So, the next scene we'll go to, I guess, is Dany. This is her coming out of Vaes Dothrak in the events of the Book of the Stranger, where she burned all the calls, and she finds out that Jorah Bear has a rash that is deadly. In the treatment of that.
Yeah. This was a sweet scene. I kind of wish Dario wasn't there for it. Not needed. Didn't need to be around. Hey, you know what, dude? Give him a second, because just let him kind of have some time with her to kind of say his goodbye, because what he'll do. You already know about the grayscale. They found out about it last episode as well. And it's one of those of just give him a minute, let him go. But no, you just stand there like a goob. Just, leave it alone, dude.
Yeah. And she tells Jorah to get himself cured and then return to her, which, hey, it's like, okay, I'll do everything I possibly can to come back to you, my Khaleesi.
My Khaleesi.
Yeah. She kind of, they go in their separate ways, which is very sad.
Yeah, and it was a sweet, sad, bittersweet scene kind of thing. He's like, all I ever wanted to do was serve you. That's it. And it's like, that's true,
It's what he will do. It's not just a question of if he will. Jorah will do it until the very end. His dying mission is to be with Daenerys, one way or other. And you can see it breaks her heart that this is the one time she doesn't want him to leave. She's like, but you have to. And he'll come back, Dany. He will come back. And that's kind of all we get from her. It's just them, her leading the Blood Riders and the women of the Khalasar, the Mega Khalasar, away with Dario, because they're just in transit. But then we kind of jump to these 4 lovely people, who are basically just twiddling their thumbs. Then he comes back. What did you kind of?
Yes. So for this section, it's funny because they're like, well, crap, it actually worked. Tyrion's proposal of, a truce because they're like, how many of the freedmen are dead? 2, but that was because of this. And how many of these people are dead? None, So everybody's kind of like, well, shit, it kind of worked. We got the peace, but people need to know that Dany's responsible for it. In fairness, no, she's not. That was you, Tyrion. You figured out that piece. I mean, I get it. You want to get the power and everything, but and it's a well played transition to getting to this next part where Kinvara. They're like, we need to get the word out, but positively, and they bring Kinvara, the Red Priestess, on, and I love this scene because I'm a Varys fan. I like Varys, but when I can see Varys get put in this place like she does without even being mean. She was actually being genuinely kind. I shouldn't say genuinely kind, but she was being kind to him just to the fact, but she was like telling him information and like just scared the crap out of him. And because Varys' expression doesn't change much. He's another one, like you said, you don't see him smile, you don't see him in fear. But when you see that, it's telling, and he shows it.
Yeah, like, so, yeah, and with this we meet another red woman, or another red priestess from Ashai. So another one of Mel's friends shows up, and she basically talks about how she knows what the flames said when Varys' parts were burnt in the fire, and his face is just like, I don't want to know. But I do want to know at the same time, because she's like, I could tell you what was being said, and he's just like, no, I want to know. Maybe we'll find out what Varys what was said in season 8, or that will be just one of those mysteries that is lost in this show. But
now, do you think he didn't know what it was said? What was said?
I can't, because I think it was in some other language, so it's hard for him. Because it was not in the common tongue, which is, I guess, English, and I don't think it was in Valyrian, so it must have been Myronese or something, because it was something that he didn't understand.
Okay.
Language, I believe he didn't understand or know all the words from. So, yeah.
Gotcha. No, and that makes sense. There was not, not a question on your opinion. Because the way I kind of read it in this scene, I couldn't remember if he had mentioned not knowing what was said. The look I got from him was either I don't want to know or please don't say because I don't want to hear it again, kind of thing. I read it kind of both ways, but I think you're closer to, because now thinking back to his conversation with Tyrion with the man in the box, he's like, some words were spoken and I don't know what was said. I just heard the tone or something along those lines, but it didn't come from the man. It came from yeah.
So whatever it is, Varys has magical parts. So it means he could be a Blackfire or he could be somebody important. But yeah.
So are you saying he's like Pod and has a magical dick? He and Pod could be related. New tinfoil. Varys and Pod, or Varys is a pain.
It's a secret pain. Or a secret Targaryen, or a Targaryen and a pain. Who knows?
Or a mer person.
Or a mer person, because you always see Varys with his hands around his stomach. So
right.
Varys is just a crazy thing, and even Tyrion's just like, whoa, with this. Yeah, this is again a scene that we're kind of waiting for Dany to show back up to continue this storyline moving forward, but it's a good scene nonetheless.
Yes.
And our last person or last place we have to go to is Beyond the Wall with Bran, and him and dealing with the three-eyed raven and his quick training that comes to a head in about, here we go, where we find out some crazy stuff.
Yeah. So really quick question on that. That face looks exactly like a three-eyed raven.
Brendan Rivers?
Brendan Rivers, yeah, to me. That looks very much like Brendan Rivers, the actor. I'm wondering, but that's the only one. Like the rest of them we've seen don't have the same face. It's just this one.
There's all different ones, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. It was just one that I had noticed seeing that. And I was like, that.
Yeah, because I think the heart tree in Winterfell has a different face. And then I'm pretty sure the heart tree Beyond the Wall, where Jon and Sam swear their vows, has a different face. So I guess it's all of the past three-eyed ravens have their own tree. So I can imagine that Bran may have his own tree somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe. Or it's
I
just
can
a thing of,
see that.
or they just draw on certain people's faces, like, hey, you have a nice face. Let me just draw it on the tree. Kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that actually definitely makes sense of them each having their own. I was kind of thinking of it as, since the Three-Eyed Raven is showing him this scene, it kind of just morphs to that
Maybe.
for whatever. But it's, speculation. But it's, that's an interesting take on it. Anyway.
Could be tinfoil, could be not, but who knows? We'll find out sometime soon. And yeah, basically we show how the Night's King was created, or this Night's King was created, and it was by Leaf, and we all just get angry at Leaf.
Right. Well, I mean, in her defense, she's not wrong. They needed something. They were getting wiped out by the first men or whatever, and they needed a nuclear option. The Night's King was their nuclear option, unfortunately, and it kind of has backfired on them now.
Yeah. She's like, she's just make a decision. It's like when it's the creation overpowers the creator, in a sense, and now she doesn't know how to deal with it.
Exactly.
But the fact that either, because Alicia and Clarissa and I had brought this up earlier, but it's like maybe he willingly went with the children of the forest, and then just the act of seeing this done to him makes him more scared, because he clearly either wanted to be tied to the tree or didn't, and it's just the realization of what's going on. But who knows? Something may have happened, because how did they find this random person? Like, did they just cherry pick him out of nowhere, or is it like we have to find out the significance of this person?
Yeah, we need to figure out who this person is officially. We can speculate who we think he is, such as the first Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, such as which is also another Brandon Stark. And there's many other speculation, but I think those are that's the number one thought process. But yeah, why would he volunteer if the wall wasn't even really needed at the time?
Yeah, and Bran sees this, and he's just pissed at Leaf. He's like, why would you do that? You've created this massive problem. And he's like, I did it because I had to. Bran's not happy.
No, but it makes sense that immediate learning of something. You're like, what the fuck? But I think he does take time into figuring out, or to listening to Leaf, and I give him credit for that, of her reasoning, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't think he stays pissed.
No, it's not until later where he's like, yeah, I completely forgive you for that. And now this does not work. Oh, there we go. Now it wants to work. So where did it go? There we go. So we get the second part of Bran's visions, where he sees it covered in the circle, covered in snow again.
Same tree. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, the lore that's going on with this is just crazy. And Bran walking through the army of the dead, maybe foreshadowing for later, aka season 8. But I don't know, that's a little bit too close to home almost.
Right.
We need Bran somewhere else, and not walking through the people that are coming for them. And then he gets encounter with the Night King, which no one wants that. Like, you wake up with a nightmare, and like, yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. So my first thought on this part of the scene was, so seriously, before he went into the dream a little bit, but the Three-Eyed Raven is an all-seeing, all-knowing, omniscient person, sees everything. He can't tell the impatient little kid that's sitting in his cave 2 feet away is reaching for the weirwood branch without him. It's the one little storyline thing that's just kind of like, are you gonna do it that way? Because it's like, it's just continuity. It's he sees everything, he knows everything that's going on, but he can't tell 2 feet away from him that this kid's woken up and gonna grab it. I know you're sleeping, fine, everybody sleeps, but it's just it just bothered me. I don't know why. It always did, even from the first time watching it to now. It's just one of those that it's like it doesn't make sense. And then yeah, because of that, everything is fucked. And it's not Bran's fault. Bran is he's a kid. He's 14 years old, maybe. I guess if you up him in the show, up him for show age, he's 14, maybe 15 years old. He's going to be impatient. He wants to learn, he wants to see. And, he just saw his father and Hodor and Lyanna at Winterfell the last episode. So now he's like, I want to learn. I want to know what's going on. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Maybe have some mindset to keep Leaf on Bran watch out. Don't touch the damn thing until until I'm with you. Sorry. But so I don't really blame Bran for causing the Night King to come in. I put it on Brendan.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the Night King and all of that crazy shit, and then obviously what subsequently happens afterwards is the Night King shows up, and we lose one of the best characters in the show, being Hodor, and we get the second half of Bran's vision from episode 2, which was really on a Willis Hodor revealing situation, and it crushes your heart because you're just like, God damn it. Hodor is the way Hodor is because of Bran, and you're just like, Bran? So this is where like a lot of people are just like, why? Why? Well, why did he have to do this? And I think I heard a while back that someone accurately guessed what Hodor meant, and it was hold the door, and it's just one of the most painful episodes. So I guess I can ask, where were you in this episode?
Where was I? Actually, was I with Luke? Was I at Luke's house watching this? I don't know this. I want to say this was one of the one episode we decided to watch on his 20-foot high bed sheet that he had hung up in the backyard as a projector. And I want to say, because I know we did last year for an episode, or season 7 for an episode. I want to say what he did for an episode in season 6. I want to say it was this one. And the reason it kind of sucked was because the show airs in St. Louis at 8 p.m. And so it doesn't really get dark here in the middle of, like, in early June until around 9, not 9ish or so. So it's still kind of light out. It was dusk, but it wasn't dark. So we couldn't see everything couldn't see everything perfectly. And the audio, we only had up this one little speaker. So the audio kind of was rough. I'm pretty sure that's where I was. I want to say that I'm pretty sure that we watched this episode all together, and we're kind of watching it. And had just gotten dark enough to where you could finally see it, and it's right as the Night King is coming into the Weirwood, or into the Weirwood Caverns. And it was heartbreaking. Great line. I think Glenn has the shirt, but I've seen it a few times. Not all men wear capes, some just hold the door. And it's like, or not all heroes wear capes, some just hold the door. And it's like, yes. But there are some theories that I've kind of had with this scene that are very dark, and I wish I didn't think them, because I do think they're true, kind of thing. But it's, I guess let's just go to the door scene, then we kind of talk everything, because that's where we're at. But Hodor holding the door, he's holding it closed, and we hear Mira call it out, hold the door, and Bran back in goes to Willis, and he jumps into Willis and sends him into convulsions. I feel at that moment, Willis kind of lost a good chunk of Willis. He became Hodor, but it transferred, and Willis was then Hodor while Hodor became Willis as he's holding the door. If he could have had one line, I could have seen them saying, "Run, Bran." Like, just one little addition, like do something like that, to where Hodor's now broken, he's doing his job, and run, Bran. Just let him have that one kind of thing. That would have been a nice little touch. I'm not saying it would have been perfect. A lot of people probably would have fucking hated it. I would have loved it, because it would confirm yeah, Hodor then reverted back to Willis, and he's now sound of mind, but he's known all along this is what was meant because he knew what was coming.
Yeah, the fate that is what he was and who he's meant to be in all those years. Like, even before Bran came into existence. I think like, that's just where it's come from. And yeah, you'll have like an opportunity for adult Hodor to say something other than Hodor would just have been even it clutches on your heartstrings just even more.
Exactly. And now,
Where
go ahead. Sorry,
huh?
sorry, sorry. I was
Yeah,
gonna.
mhm. And I'll just say like I think we were in my parents and I we were in Buffalo when this episode had come out, and I was just like, I have to make sure that the hotel has the channel so I can watch it when it was going live. And I like found the channel. I was like, yes, they have the channel. And then I'm sitting there in the hotel room on my bed, just going, this is the episode that I have to be away from to watch. Like it was just, I was like, God damn it, losing Hodor. I was like, damn it, but it's
Right.
one of those that really pulls on you, and it really just tells you.
Yeah, because in fairness, you lose
Mhm,
two major characters. Because a lot of people undercut forget that we lose Summer here too. She
mhm,
died protecting Bran. You know, doing what she was always meant to do. That was her job: protect Bran, make him make sure he lives, and she does that. And but really quick, I wanted to go back to what you had said of somebody calling out properly the Hodor story. It was actually at a convention, not like a Comic Con convention, like an actual convention thing that George Martin was staying at for the
mhm,
week, and him and this other guy were on the same floor, and they left the hotel at the same time every day. And so the guy caught himself all the time, kind of running into the elevator. Hey, hold the door! Hey, hold the door! And on like the third
mhm,
day, he's like, "Hold door! Hold the door!" And he's like, "Wait a second, hold!" And he just kind of paused, and George just kind of gave him a wink, like,
yes,
yep, there. But like nobody knew what the door meant. Like you don't really know what hold the door even means. If you knew
yeah,
Hodor stood for hold the door, you'd be like, okay, I'm watching for something. And then once you saw that door at the beginning of the episode, then you would, or at the end of the episode, you would click, oh shit, it's coming. But beyond that,
mhm,
you could tell anybody. Hodor means hold the door, and until they see that door, they have no clue what that would actually mean. So it was a well planned out reveal.
very much so. And now that's kind of the end of the episode. Is Mira trudging through the snow with adult Bran, and while we lose Hodor and Summer in the cave, as well as Leaf. So it's basically just Mira and Bran against the great northern realm that is beyond the wall. But that is just oh so sad, but oh so
No, absolutely. And on top of it, there are some great visuals. If you get the
mhm,
chance, make sure you watch this in HD slow mode because most time when I'm watching these episodes, especially on rewatch, I'm watching two times speed, kind of getting through hitting the bullet points, and I'm not really appreciating anymore the visual aspects a lot. Like sometimes
mhm,
this one catches me seeing the whites run down that hallway along the walls, along the roofs, seeing the explosions and everything, just the way everything was shot and done. A lot of it, most of it's CGI. I get that. You can do a lot with CGI, but it looks so cool, and you can feel the terror of everything, and
mhm,
especially the last shot, which is not CGI at all, of Hodor, not the last shot, but one of the last shots of Hodor holding the door, the arms coming out, and the
mhm.
tears or the pain on his face. Just beautifully done.
Yeah, being yeah, it's just pour one out for Hodor and for some, and for Leaf and the Three-Eyed Raven. Like all of these people that are important to Bran's character get wiped out halfway through, and it's just
Yeah.
oh damn. But with that, we kind of reached the end of Hold the Door. So, which would you give this episode?
See, I spent all day trying to think of funny ratings and everything, and I couldn't. All I can think of, emotionally, I give it 10. give it 10. Episode wise as a whole, I'd say it's a good 8.75, 9. It's one that you're gonna remember. This is one that's not like you're just which episode, what season that you're gonna remember. This season 6. You know this episode. When you hear the door, that's all you need. You know this episode.
Yeah.
So I give it 9 out of 10.
What?
I said I give it 9 Hodors out of 10.
9 Hodors out of 10. And yeah, it's a emotionally charged end of the episode. And yeah, I give this episode like 10. 10 Willis, we will remember yous out of 10. Because
Nice.
you gotta have that. So now, and hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we're also going to be talking Season 6, Episode 6, Blood of My Blood. Blood of My Blood. Excuse me. With Ben, aka Sly the Tank Pigeon. This is obviously right after Hold the Door. So, how you doing, Megan?
I'm doing well. Thank you again for having me. And it was, I really do appreciate you having me on. And it's going to be a fun episode. I think we got some interesting scenes to talk about. Not as good as last episode, I'm not going to lie, but it's a good one. It's a solid episode.
Yeah, exactly. It is a good episode, and it's reeling off of Hold the Door. So, speaking of that, we start this episode beyond the wall, and Bran seeing his visions as well as an uncle who he hasn't seen since, I guess, episode 1 of season 1. So,
episode 3. Maybe 2,
well,
possibly.
the one that Bran hasn't seen since episode.
Oh, the Bran. Yes. Yeah.
But all the visions that we see in.
So basically Bran got the password to the Weirwood Wi-Fi. It's still on download mode, but it's one of those like when you go to download an app or something, but you leave the Wi-Fi, so it kind of freezes, but it's still kind of picking up because it's getting on the cellular signal, but it can't figure out what you want. That's what he's getting. He's getting a crap ton of information downloaded into him still, and Mirror's just trudging along. She's a workhorse of a badass that's just like I gotta keep going, and then finally she just can't. You can only go for so long before your body just shuts down, and we just luckily get a random stranger with some very cold hands coming through, swinging what I think Abby and I agree with. I don't know if you're a religious person, if you ever went to church, but in the Catholic Church, sometimes you have like these incense swingers. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a big ball of incense that's just lit on fire, and it's kind of like just smoking and everything. And that's exactly what he comes wielding in and wiping out the whites. And of course, we get the tropey, come with me if you want to live. He doesn't say if you want to live, but come with me. They should have at least gone full board. If you want to live, come with me. Do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of this whole weird thing of just, we know that's Benjen because the voice is exactly the same, and you can usually tell by the eyes who's who. And yeah, just Bran. But yeah, Bran also sees Ares. He sees dragons flying over King's Landing. He sees the pyromancers. He sees, I think, something else too. I can't exactly remember all of it, but he sees the future, not the future. He sees the past in one scene that may be the future, which is dragons over King's Landing. But yeah, he's dealing with so much, and he's in that weird vegetative state, and Mira is just basically pleading for him to be okay because she can sense and see that the whites are coming after them, and she doesn't know if this is their end, if this is the end of her story and the end of Bran's story. And then Cold Hand shows up out of nowhere, and they are saved. And it's like, which kind of leads into their second scene, which is just Cold Hands revealing himself as Benjen. And yeah, it's one of those things is like, the children sent me, and the Three-Eyed Raven sent me to come and save you and to come and take you back to where you're supposed to be. And just got gotta love Benjen coming back into the story, but hate how his story ends in the show.
Agreed. And a couple things. I do like this consolidation because George has said to his editors, Benjen is not Cold Hands. They're two different characters, two different things, but it makes sense tying these two together. Fine. With one thing though, since Bran has access to the Weirwood net, go back. Let us see Benjen getting the dragon heart or dragon stone dagger, because it could take extra 30 seconds, but you see. Instead of Benjen just saying or you could have him say I was saved by the children of the forest, have Bran just zonk out and go back 30 seconds and you see him getting it, same kind of thing as the Night's King, but it has a different effect on him. Why did it have a different effect on him? That's a huge question of, and I don't think in the show wise we're going to get an answer. But why did it affect him differently than it affected the Night's King? Or like you had brought up our last episode, what caused the Night's King to go from defender of the children to wipe out the world kind of thing? Yeah. And so I wish I had those answers.
I wish we had those answers too. Maybe we will get them. Maybe, but that's hoping on a prayer. I really think that phrase is.
Right. And now one thing I did want to mention too, with you were talking about the visions, he was saying the flying over the dragons over King's Landing thing. The internet was so pissed off about that when this scene came up, because like we knew because they showed that in the trailers. That was a trailer kind of, hey, upcoming dragons over King's Landing. It was like, holy shit, Danny's already gonna make it back. All right, cool. And then they're seeing the story, and then this comes up, and like we knew it. We fucking knew. We knew it'd be a flashback or a vision or some sort of crap. No, dragons are damn King's Landing. I remember a lot of blowback from that one.
It's like that whole thing of, I want Danny there, but she takes another full season to get there. Right. It irks. It irks so bad.
And I'll wait till that's the end of the episode. Yeah, I'll wait till the end of the episode to give my comment on the Danny stuff. So, all right.
Yeah.
But no, agreed. I do agree with you.
Yeah, that he's become very Raven, and that the White Walkers are coming. You gotta prepare for it. So, next we can go to Hornhill, which is Sam and Gilly arrive and meet with Sam's mother and sister before special family dinners with the Tarleys. Oh, gee.
Yeah. So the scene in the carriage ride, Sam's, he's nervous talking. He's talking about the plants and the trees and all that. Gilly calls him out on that. It's cute to see that they're a couple now that she knows his quirks. She's like, you're nervous talking. You talk this much when you're nervous. He's like, I talk a lot, but you talk this much when you're nervous. And he's just trying to go on with everything. And he's trying to explain to her. It's kind of one of those things like when you get a new girlfriend, a new boyfriend, and you know your family's quirks. And you're like, okay, I know you're of this political persuasion. I get that. I'm good with that. Maybe not mention it to my Uncle Gary. He's kind of a nut job. Try not to talk about that. And the very first words out of your mouth after, or to dinner to Uncle Gary is, oh, yeah, nah, I like the president. It's a good job.
Yeah, he was like...
And Rando was right on it. He picked her up. I do like Melissa and Tala. They're both exactly what you would expect Sam's female relatives to be, female siblings and mother and sibling to be, because very caring, very just good-hearted. You can see why Sam's good with women. He's not. I mean, he's shy, but he's not.
No, not a horrible person.
Yeah, not a horrible person. Like he's a good person, and so he's not bad around women, kind of thing. And I do actually like Dickens' portrayal, even though we get the new actor next season. This is the one off for this guy. His portrayal, he's not being an asshole to Sam. He's just he was saying, yeah, no, we're not eating the one we shot today because you have to let that. He was like trying to explain, yeah, you should know this because you're a man. But I mean, honestly, I would have thought the same damn thing. So,
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, it's just, I guess, explaining that to the show audience, people who don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And here's the other thing too, because Sam goes, well, we eat rabbits and squirrels. Because here's the thing: when you kill a rabbit or squirrel, when you're out surviving in the wilderness, you kill it and you eat it. You don't let it cure. You don't let it, sit or whatever. You eat it. You kill it. You eat it. You have to. That's how you have to survive. And so for Sam to even make that connection, it kind of makes sense too. Of you killed a deer today, great. Are we eating it right now? So
Yeah, yeah. Just the family dinner is just like so awkward. But with Sam's mom, and when Sam introduces baby Sam, she's like, she doesn't even blink an eye. She's just like, oh, just so cute. And this is obviously when little Sam is still at that weird age that he's seemingly still at, where he's like not a toddler, but like not a baby. He's like still like a toddler. He can't walk by himself. It's almost like he's, and it's so weird because we've been through 3 physical years of the show, so it's like, but I kind of understand the show time and how the show times just passes weird at different places. But yeah, and Gilly also looks in. She dresses up for the first time in something other than basically a potato sack.
and get it, girl. I'm damn.
Anna Marie, yeah, she's one of those people that's not like what is it? Like, she doesn't obviously have to dress up to look pretty. She can wear anything and she'll look pretty. Um,
Exactly. It's one of those, you look good, but when you just add that extra step of, trying, huh, okay, it's like, damn.
and she may be the future Lady of Lady of the Reach, or Ordinance of the Reach, in season 8. You never know. So you gotta figure that out. But yeah, and this is also too, I believe, where Sam also takes Heartbane, which GG for season 8. So,
Yeah. And the scene building up to that beforehand, because Randall's being an asshole to Sam, and Gilly stands up for him. I cheers to her, and I don't blame Sam either. He's not scared of his father, but he's like, I needed to protect you and let you have a place to stay. So I mean, I understood everything where he was sitting there just taking it. But the scene before, I'm not gonna lie, I got fish hooked with it, where Sam's like, I have to leave at first light. I kind of bought in that he was gone. He closed the door and you have Gilly walking over to hold baby Sam, little Sam, and I'm like, okay, there's a cut scene, and like, I'm like, well, shit, okay, this is gonna suck because Sam's supposed to go be a maester and he can't even have a girl there anyway. So, and then Sam busts back in, and that's like, yes, okay, it's kind of one of those. It got me just that little bit, that 10 seconds where he walked out the door. It was like,
yeah,
all right,
it's like really, because he had that whole thing of like 2 seasons earlier of wherever I go, you go. It's like, and then he's like, oh yeah, he like closes the door and he's like, wait, I can't, and then he like goes back. Yep.
yeah, and so one other thing I had on that, where he goes and takes the sword, and he's like, well, this is my family sword, and she's like, isn't your father gonna come after it? Well, he can bloody well try. I think Sam is killing it for catchphrases this season. He got the bloody well try, and there was another one. Oh, it was another line I had that I had made note of today. Randall, he's like, I just have a son who just wants to read about the achievements of better men, and Sam calls that back, and I like that Sam calls it back in season 7, where he's leaving all the time. He's like, I'm tired of being somebody who reads about the achievements of better men. Even though his dad's a dick and a complete asshole, there's still some lessons you can learn from that, and so that's where my mind went to for the next line of, well, he can bloody well try. Sam just is getting all the catchphrases, because he used the bloody well try back in season 10 or season 5, episode 10, which we'd covered a couple weeks ago, or last week. Yeah, they don't make you swear off women. Well, they can bloody well try.
Yeah, exactly. And this Sam getting Heartbane is just like, ooh, another Valyrian steel sword is in play, which is just, you just rubs your hands together. Can't wait to see what happens, because yeah, him and Gilly, they're headed off to the Citadel, which we obviously see at the end of the season what the repercussions of that are. But yeah, it's a cute few scenes. And yes, we get Randall 1.0 for like 5 minutes. But hey, we get to see all these different places. And might I say, actually, Hornhill, pretty dang awesome compared to even Highgarden in the show. Like, Highgarden, awesome, but nothing to the extravagance of what was Hornhill.
Yeah.
Gosh damn.
Yeah, no, agreed. I made the same comment when we covered. I was like, Hornhill looks badass. Actually, all of season 6, I will say, they do a badass job covering the exteriors of buildings 6 and 7, because we see Hornhill, we see Highgarden, we see Bear Island, which Bear Island is probably one of my favorite castles out there, but Hornhill's very close, very up there, and also Casterly Rock. All 4 of them, which we never had seen before, but we get the exterior shots. They look just so cool. But Hornhill was like the first one that we got that we hadn't seen ever before, and it's like makes you kind of step back again, like, oh damn, that place is huge, and that's a minor house in the Reach,
Like, that's not the workman's house. Like, that's just the full-on castle. It's like, damn. Like, it's like, I knew Sam was a lord, but I didn't know he had that much money. That whole thing of people hiding their wealth well enough, in a sense, even though Sam's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
After Gilly and Sam, we get King's Landing, which is basically Tommen and Marjorie have a conversation about the High Sparrow, and then Marjorie takes her walk of atonement. But yeah, it doesn't happen quite as what both sides want.
Yes. So I'll start with the High Sparrow, Marjorie, and Tommen part. He says, one way or another, we all need to atone for our sins. It makes you wonder what she was put through since we last saw her with Loras. She kind of made this switch to accepting, her punishment kind of thing. But it also makes you wonder what Loras has been going through when, he's like, I don't want to do that, I'm not doing that. Or it's like, I just want it to stop. I want it to, and so it's what made her was it just because seeing her brother, and she's like, okay, fine, I can't put him through this if I atone and take these steps. But again, looking back at it from hindsight of what we know now, it's a well played scene where she's like, yeah, I'm gonna bring the king in, we'll bring the king in, we'll do all this, so maybe I don't have to do the atonement walk and do whatever and get on the High Sparrow's good graces. I love the line though, she's like, he's not quite what he seemed, and Tom's like, no, 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 but he takes a completely different mindset. He's like, he's so wise, and Marjorie's more like, he's kind of a dick. I mean, he is a dick. So, but she's like, then she sees how he's coming at it, and he's like, and she's like, okay, switch the game. So Marjorie's still on it.
Yeah, she is. She is a lot of grind on her, and yeah, she's just like, let me see how I can finagle this into a direction that works for me. And then you see the Tyrell army come in with some of the gold cloaks, and yeah, Marjorie doesn't get to do her walk of atonement, which the small folk hate because they're like, damn it, don't get to see another queen.
I include me in on the small folk.
And she's just like, fine. And then it's like, well, we duped you. And obviously, Tom is now under the faith militants, like almost the High Sparrow is, as a John St. Baptiste thing, dance, puppets, dance.
Right.
Thing. So, yeah. Jamie's just in disapproval. Even Mace Tyrell's like, Mom, what's going on? And she's like, we lost.
We lost, you dolt. So going to that point of Mace Tyrell being an adult, I just noticed this time through. This is the first time I've seen this episode multiple times, but first time today I noticed Mace needs somebody to lead his horse down the hall. Literally, there's somebody walking. Jamie's riding his horse alone, like guiding him, and Mace is literally having somebody guide his horse up the street in front of the army. And it's like, really? That's just one more layer on the amount of douche and tool bag this guy has. It's like you need somebody to walk your horse up the street for you. It's and I honestly think he needed it. It's not like he chose because I'm, he probably couldn't handle the horse to do it, and I give him a little credit because the speech he gave, had it come from anybody else, probably would have been an inspirational, motivational thing. But coming from Mace, it's so pompous and Ernie McMillanish, and I will say that for any of you Harry Potter fans, Ernie McMillanish, that it's just like, shut the hell up. Now, the sight of the Tyrell army standing there, that's a great visual. And Jaime badassing it up the stairs and the horse to face the Sparrow one-on-one, great. But yeah, the Mace part is like, you dummy. But yeah, then you get the shock of Tommen and coming out, and you're like, oh damn. And then the white cloaks, the 4 other white cloaks are with the 7-pointed star on their chest now. It's like,
it's like, gosh, damn it.
Yep.
It's just, Tommen, you didn't listen to Mom, and now you're gonna face the repercussions for it. Because after the whole scene they all get separated. Jaime meets with Tommen, and how basically they attacked the faith, so they attacked the crown. And instead of going into basically being in prison for attacking the faith, he can either go to the Kingsguard or he has to serve Tommen and the Lannisters, but just not in King's Landing. So basically, Dad punishes him for doing what Dad thinks is right, and after basically this is what spuns the whole the phrase, and Jaime having his dealings with the phrase.
Yes.
But you forget some incest in the middle of this.
Just some casual incest going on. It happens. So, Jaime, dropping his armor and everything, very reminiscent of Barristan Selmy, kind of that one motion, dropping it all, and kind of right in the throne room to Joffrey. But with Jaime, I like the line of, he's like, I've been a Kingsguard before you were, I've been wearing that cloak since before you were born. And in my headcanon, I hear that as, I fucked your mom in that cloak to whelp you little shit. That's the way I hear it, and it's the exact truth. I know what his intention of what he was saying. But and again, it's with the book, because I'm actually on Jaime's section right now as we're talking on my chapter, my character by character read through. And Jaime's whole thing is, I am a Kingsguard until death. He was approached by everybody, especially after he lost his hand and made it back into King's Landing book wise. Drop the cloak, go be Lord of the Castle Rock. Do that, every time he talked to Tywin, and it's an ongoing thing. And so for him to be forced out like this is a huge stroke, or like a dagger to his heart, because that's been his whole life. It's Cersei and the Kingsguard. That's it. And granted, the Kingsguard actually was because of Cersei, but it's like, so seeing the scene, it is very heartbreaking. And then Cersei's just, her pep talk is, for lack of better words, later on, it makes sense. She strokes his ego to a point of where she's like, it's only me and you. It was only ever me and you. And that's what he needed to be able to go off to Riverrun.
Yeah, they really need to do that. Yeah, she also mentioned about how the Lannister army can take a castle very easily. And yeah, because they have pretty much the biggest army at this point in time, the biggest army. So it's like, why not? And yeah, we get all the Jaime by himself scenes again coming through. And but also casual incest. Hey, it's not as bad. It's not next to dead Joffrey or anything. So you can kind of deal with it a little bit better than other times. And also, she talked about how she'll have her trial. Yeah. Cersei also talked about how she'll have the trial by combat, but she'll have the mountain. And where she has to have the child, she'll have the mountain, and that she'll be okay without Jamie. But still, it's just their love story is weird, but hey, it's Westeros, so any
Weird, but
love story.
honestly, it's one of the truest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying like realist. That
No,
doesn't happen quite that often. But the truest to the point of they chose who they were going to be with, and that's what they wanted. That's what they've known since childhood. And so is it weird? Is it wrong? Sure, but it doesn't. Does that make it? I mean, it's kind of one of those of I try to always look at things objectively and everything, and in that situation, it's to me, it's I can understand. I can get where they're
mm-hmm.
coming from. Is it weird? Absolutely. Would I do it? No, but it makes sense because that's what they've known. So, again, with these, incestuous scenes, but it's also you have to think of, is she doing it because like this is one of those few scenes where Cersei is using her love and affection and giving it to him, but it feels more genuine in this scene. This is one of the few scenes where it feels absolutely genuine. She's not just using it to play him. She's using it because this is an emotional scene and they're driven into this instead of, oh,
Yeah,
I need whatever power, or you just do
yeah,
whatever I want you to.
yeah. Like, oh, why not? Why can't you? It's like, yeah. Well, last time I see you for a while, kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they needed this kind of scene to because is this the first time we've seen them fool around since Joffrey's funeral?
I think there was one time after this. I think I just can't remember when. It's just
Okay,
all the episodes all come
yeah,
in
they
my
all kind
head.
of
But
run together. Yeah,
I think so. I think it's because it's after when she tells Tywin uh, that the two of them have been together and that all the children are from Jamie, which is in
yeah, that
episode 10.
yes, when she because we don't she goes down on him and all that, and so okay, no, you're no,
Oh,
as soon as you started saying, I'm like, okay, yep, you're right, and it kind of sticks back to it. So, yeah, okay. So, because I was, but they need these kind of scenes to try to make the viewer feel less rape, like try to forget about the rape. That's it's make it more consensual, and so yeah, that scene, and then this one where they're both going hard at it.
yeah, yeah, but unintentionally. It was just the way that it was. Like, I know in the script for that scene, it was not meant to be that way. It was just how it was filmed, was how uh, it was directed in that perspective. It's just,
Yes.
they have to go with all that. It's not fun. Um, the next kind of location that we go to is Bravos, and we see the second half of the performance. Um, and Arya also starts her bond with Lady Crane, and then eventually she goes and gets Needle. So, my kind of thought on this is like it's very cool to see the second half of the play, to get the second half of what happened in Westeros from Arya's sort of perspective, as like we talked before, she didn't know, or she figured that that's what happened, but it was slightly different. And yeah, Lady Crane is just it's a character that you get to understand and know, but then you're like, yeah, she's not long for this story. You just don't know when.
Exactly. I do like that Arya is the only one laughing at Joffrey's death, because she like starts cracking up and she looks around like, oh, this isn't supposed to be a funny thing, But even then, that's kind of the viewers. I like the kind of commentary on it because that's kind of our reaction as viewers to that. We want to laugh at Joffrey's death. Like I knew it was coming when season 4 came around. I was like, he's gonna die, and I'm going to enjoy this. But then you actually see it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of harsh, like so it's kind of that's very much a reaction that she was giving in the scene, and I think her cutting it off was more she didn't want to look bad in front of everybody else and draw attention to her. But it's it's also telling that later in the scene, Lady Crane calls her out on, you've been here 3 times now and you haven't paid once, blah blah blah. So she's seen this scene 3 times and she still laughs at it every single time. That's telling.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just Lady Crane. It's kind of, I guess, the pseudo like adult figure that's not Jaqen that can influence her, and obviously care for her, kind of like a pseudo mother for like a few episodes. But yeah, she's just Arya's just Arya. This is not how you're supposed to do things. You're not supposed to go and stalk your prey before you go and kill it in this type of fashion. Not for like 3 different days or 3 over a course of a week. You're not supposed to just watch them. It's supposed to be the one and done.
Yeah, in fairness, she does the exact same thing with the coin giver, the insurance man. I forget I forget what he's called in the
Thin
books,
Man.
but what's that?
He's with the Thin Man.
The Thin Man. Thank you. Yes, the Thin Man. She does that. She does go 3 or 4 times, kind of just watching him over the course of a week, trying to learn. And I think that plays it. And I'm okay with her going and watching but really, she shouldn't be watching the play 3 times. She should be looking for openings, kind of searching around, walking around the play. So I get exactly what you're saying about, she doesn't need to be doing that. But the stalking the prey thing, I do think she should be doing that because she wants to learn to make sure she does it right. But yeah, just sitting there watching the play 3 times, you're not really doing your job. You're
once, maybe twice. Yeah, sure, in case you miss something. But the 3rd time, it's just like you know all the jokes when they're coming up. You could just more watch it from, I guess, watching her perspective, like watching Lady Crane. But
exactly. I did like her advice to Lady Crane afterwards. She's like, you're playing a pissed off, or you're playing a woman who would not be, she'd be sad, but she'd be angry. And, and we'd see that later where she takes her advice and it does work for it, kind of thing. And it's just the little things that they add to the story. I like it. The only part of this is Wayfinator running back to Jaqen saying, I was right. So you promised me. Well, so that's already showing us that Waif has wants. She's not a servant. She's a killer. You know, she just jealous of Arya because she was Jaqen's new toy or new plaything, and it's kind of one of those of so she's just jealous of Arya, and she's like, they're not taking my place. This is my spot. I do what I want. Kind of thing, and it's just like, no, it's come on. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can't do that. Like, come on. But yeah, it just shows the great divide and what will come in episode 8, which is just the Terminator and poor Arya running with all of her stitches. But yeah, it's just the whole scene in Bravos is pretty well done for what it is, and just building up for the later episodes. Which, hey, can't blame me.
Exactly. This second half of Bravos from last episode and onward, I'm fine with. Entirely fine with pretty much they honestly, and me and Luke have talked about this on our show, but they should have, like they did with Bran, cut her out for a season. Let her get to Bravos, into the House of Black and White, and gone.
Yeah.
Let Bran get to the Weirwood Net, gone, and let them go, let them age, let them kind of train, and then you can kind of just go full bore into it.
Yeah, and then and if you really needed to, like a 5-minute let's catch up with Arya scene, but I guess because she's one of those fan favorites, they had to carry her on until obviously what they do.
Yeah, there's a reason why she's the only character, one of the only characters that has a chapter POV in every single book. Right, I think she's the only one that has it. I may be wrong about that, but I believe she's the only character that have a chapter in every book. And it's like, you don't need that. She is a fan favorite. She's one of my favorites. Absolutely, I love Arya, but I don't have to be saturated with her. give it a break if it needs a break.
Man, maybe that's what we'll get. Who knows? But Arya's character will figure it out down the line. How many chapters she needs and stuff. But it's just Arya and her crazy stories. So, and yeah, Arya also goes and gets Needle, which is a thing of what's gonna go on. And then she's obviously not in the House of Black and White when I guess she goes to sleep. So she's already disassociating herself from the House of Black and White already, which I'm like, I don't think that's the rules. Like,
well, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like Johnny and I have talked about. It's like, yeah, she's gonna have to pay come season 8 because pretty much she's gotten all the it's like we've said it. It's like going to the gym, having a personal trainer, and then not paying the personal trainer for the time that they've spent with you. It's like her thing with Jack, and it's like, yeah, they spent so much time with you, they trained you, and now you have to serve them. It's like, but you cut them off by saying, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, I'm not going to do the rest of this. I'm not going to become the faceless man like you want me to. I'm just going to, thanks for the training, and I'm sorry, Stark. Bye, everyone. Like that kind of whole thing. You're just like, God.
Yeah. I do kind of agree with that. I don't know if they'll pull that off in the show because, as we see later on this season, Jaqen gives her the nod. He's like, when she pulls out the "I'm Arya Stark Winterfell and I'm going home," he does the "Okay, if you say, sure, rock on, you win." Because at this point, now I do agree with you though, thinking about it, because at that point her debt was paid. Because as he says in the last episode, he says, the many-faced gods needs a face. He's owed a face, either yours or either the victims or somebody else's, but it needs face. So Lady Crane's isn't gotten, Arya's isn't gotten, the waif's isn't gotten. So that face is now that debt is paid. So at this point, yeah, she went off, and so her and Jaqen, they're good, they're square. But if he gets wind of what she's been doing with the powers, with the skills, I could see that. I could actually see that in the show, them bringing that back up. But I just don't know if there's enough time for them to pull it off. But it could be that end of episode 6 shocker. We get 5 years down the line, everybody is content, we're ruling, and everybody's safe and happy, and then all of a sudden, Jaqen shows up, a debt is paid, bam, and end of show. Like a blackout.
Yeah, like, bye, bitch. I'm back, bitches. Like that kind of whole thing.
Yeah. So I could say I could see something like that. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I have no clue, and I don't think it would. But if they really wanted to leave the fans kind of pissed off, but hey, you got us, that'd be the way to do it.
Yeah, because Johnny has a couple ideas and theories about where Arya's going and what she's doing, and I'll make sure to leave the one that he did a while ago, but it still holds water in the description. It's just a really good one, and yeah, Arya is just she's very complex, and we don't know where she's going and what she's doing. But
oh yeah.
So, the next scene that we get is quickly in the twins, and basically Walder Frey has found out that River Run has been taken back by Blackfish, and they basically pull out Edmure Tully from the dungeons, and it's like, "We're going home, son."
Right. Sorry. I love the part of, it's a castle. You didn't lose it. I assume you know where it's still standing. It was taken from you. Gotta love semantics, especially when you can make some fun of somebody for, it's like, you didn't lose it. It was taken. Be honest. But I like the side of Frey. I like the side of Frey. Before he was just a dick, but this shows he has a distaste for being mocked, because he's like Lord Walder Frey. They mock us, they laugh at us, they're always laughing at us, and I get that mentality of, yeah, I mean, he's a curmudgeon old guy that doesn't want to risk, what he doesn't need to if he doesn't have to protect himself and his family. That's acceptable. Honestly, it's one of those, you have to be smart. I mean, again, is he an asshole? Absolutely. Is he the worst, one of the worst people in the world? Sure. But you can't blame the guy for just wanting to make him and his family better. That's the whole goal of the Game of Thrones. Improve you and your family's station in life. And so for him to be like, they're laughing at us, been his whole life. So I can't really blame him for his anger towards his sons, because he's like, you lost a castle that's easily defended. It's one of the easier castles to defend. There's a whole river on one side of it.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it, I didn't have sons that were smart enough to figure this out. Like, yeah, and they reveal that Edmure is still alive, and he's been kind of just kept in the dungeon since the Red Wedding. It's like, oh damn. But we know that actor, Tobias, never remember his last name, he, since the Red Wedding, has been on the show Outlander.
Yes.
So that's why he's been in hiding for so long. And
yes,
why they haven't mentioned him.
And that is also why he is Abby's least favorite person in the entire show. She absolutely loves Outlander. She's a huge fan of it, and he's a good guy and a bad guy. I don't know if you watched the show.
Yeah, I saw like I've like never like gotten into the show completely, but I like know how his character rolls on that show.
Gotcha. Yes, and same. And so it's like, he's a good guy in one aspect, but an asshole in another. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, and I haven't really gotten into it. I've only seen a few bits and pieces of it. But yeah, ever since Abby started watching this show, she's like, I hate Edmure. Fuck him. I can't stand him. And we're like, yeah, he's kind of dumb. And she's like, no, screw that guy. And it's like, and she explained, it's like, okay, that makes sense. There's sometimes where those actors, it's like, you play that role, it's like, sorry, I'm always gonna see you as this person. And so for her, that's Edmure, that's Tobias.
Yeah, especially if you see that person as that role first, and then you can't see them play a different role like that. And I think that actor is supposed to play an older version of, I think, Prince Charles or something like that, or no, Prince Philip, actually, in The Crown, which is the series based off of Queen Elizabeth, current Queen of England. Yeah, I think he's supposed to play the older version of Prince Philip, I'm pretty sure. So in season 3, when they change over actors for that one, he'll be on that show. But yeah, Edmure's all dirty, and this brings up that whole thing of, why didn't Arya try and find him? Like, but obviously they move him in a couple episodes. But yeah, it's just Edmure, come back.
Yeah,
like, nothing.
Yeah, he was already being taken by this point to River Run.
Yeah. And, yeah, it's just, my God.
Yeah, a couple of the side notes here from our old notes. That poor girl, Frey's new wife, because this is our first shot of his new wife, because Catelyn killed his last wife. The old one, who was 15 years old. The new one looks about 13. But it's just like, yeah, that poor girl. Yeah, just who's your father to sell you out to that old curmudgeon?
It must be so desperate, I guess. Like, it's at that point, it's just like, but it's just like bad parenting.
And there's no upside to the father selling, giving whatever his daughter to Walder Frey as a bride, because no matter how many kids she pumps out, they will never be anything. There are so many down the line. I think there's like, I think Big Walder in the book is like 22nd in line, or Little Walder is 22nd in line, and Big Walder is like 24th in line. And it's one of those, it's like, so this new bride, there's no chance of you having anything for your ongoing family. So what the hell? It bothers me.
Like, it's just the poor girl. Like, it's just the whole mentality and it's like of just that relationship. Yes, I know we're putting a 2019 perspective on this, but still, it's just
weird and it's so creepy because like this man already has probably almost great grandchildren at this point, so it's just like don't want to touch it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh god. And you get the last sequence, so to speak, or scenes come together, and it's Dany and the Dothraki Sea, where she's riding with the Khalasar, and she finds Drogon in the middle of nowhere, which is like suspense your disbelief a bit more, and she gives a motivational speech.
Yeah. So I don't know how much of a big Harry Potter fan you are. It's the same joke I used on our stream, but it's still apt. I am convinced she's a witch using Sonorous to project her voice. It's a magical spell that Sonorous, and she can project her voice over tens of thousands without a microphone because Dany has a superpower of being able to just say anything at about this level, and everybody in 20 miles hears it. You know, on the walls of Yunkai, on whatever. I am the Knight of Stormborn. I get it. It's a powerful scene, a great speech. It's a very great speech, and it's very well done. But by happy accident, this is also why I chose to do this episode. Not because of the scene per se, but because these last two episodes, episode 5 and episode 6, there's only one Dany scene. Only one Dany scene of her, and actually her being fairly humbled. The last episode, it was her and Jorah. This one, she's humble. She's trying to. I don't even know why. These guys are following you already. You would think that maybe you give this speech before you even leave Vasto Thrak. It's like, why do you have to find Drogon and be like, you are all my blood riders? Blah blah. They're already following you. They saw you literally burn all of their cows. Just makes no sense to me of why you need to give this motivational speech now. At the beginning of episode 5, perfect sense. Perfect sense to do it then. This now, it just feels like you're kind of shoehorning in to get the ending scene of Drogon looking badass. And that's about it.
Yeah, it's just Dario, and he's just like, okay, I'll stay here while you run away in the middle of the Dothraki Sea. Like, all right. And then she comes back with Drogon, and it's just like, will you go across the narrow sea with me with the wooden horses across the narrow sea? Will you kill the men in the iron suits for me and all of this stuff? And will you help me take the Iron Throne like Khal Drogo had promised me? Yes, it's an emotional scene because she brings up Khal Drogo, but it also begs the question of, is Dany actually going to do all of these things, and will all of these people do this for her? Yes, we get parts of this in the Spoils of War when they kill a whole bunch of Lannisters, but John's army, most of it is men in iron suits and the like. So if she is to go Mad Queen and want to take over everything, she could go against John's army, especially if certain things are revealed. But I don't know. But yeah, Dany, and we get to see Drogon again because it's like, hey, because it's Drogon, why not? But yeah, I agree with you. Like, they could have etched this speech into the last episode and then just not have Dany in this one, but they obviously needed to have Dany in this episode, I guess.
Yeah,
to fill extra time.
Yeah, fill extra time, and it's kind of, you could take in maybe the full play from last episode. Just give Arya the name. You don't have to do the play thing from last episode. Do it this episode. Kind of all tie that together, fill up the time. But you need that ending big badass shot. Now, don't get me wrong. It does give you one of the best shots of the show of the dragon's mouth, and you see finally the holes on the side where the propane or whatever shoots out. And that's the igniter, and the propane comes from the propane comes from there. The fire, the pilot lights down the throat, and it lights it all up. Sorry, if you're editing this back behind the fourth wall, but if you're editing this back, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's like a great show of the holes in the side of the mouth with the pictures. So, but yeah, it's one of those. I don't hate this scene. I really don't. It's very motivational and it's powerful, but yeah, just kind of unnecessary.
So it could have been placed in the other episode, but it's still a good scene regardless, because it's like, yeah,
exactly.
pump up a day scene. But we have reached, I believe, the end of the episode. This, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I've hit it. We've hit every single location this episode. So, what do you rate this episode?
I rate that this is again a solid episode. Season 6 was had all pretty solid episodes, no real bad storylines or anything. So this episode, I'll give it an 8.75. So you can bloody well tries.
Awesome. And I'll follow suit with 8.75, but I'll do it as 8.75. Tommen, seriously? As one of those. But yeah, it's just, Tommen, come on, man. You could have done, just use your brain a little bit more.
Right.
It's a good episode, all in all. And so, then, what do you have coming up on your channel or on Drinks and Notes?
Yes, on my channel, I don't have anything coming right now. On Drinks and Nose, this is coming out after Monday, so we just covered season 7, episode 7. Make sure you go back and watch that because it's a huge show. We got like 3 guests plus the full show. It's gonna be a long one, hopefully not. But you'll know at this point before I do. Actually, if that makes sense.
We're talking in the future, but also the past.
Exactly. So, but then coming next week on Drinks and Nose, I am doing sit downs with Sly, as I'm calling them. I am getting a group of different creators, YouTube streamers, and some people you don't see on the streams, but you know them from the chats. I'm not going to tell you who. It's going to be a surprise, but make sure those will be released as videos like these, podcast style. I'm going to be sitting talking with 2 at a time. It's just kind of random questions that myself, Luke, and Glenn came up with just to have some fun, fill some time, just give you something to watch, just enjoy kind of thing. And who knows, I may, after season 8 concludes, keep doing them. If you're watching this and you're interested in doing a sit down slide, message me. I'll happily do the questions and maybe come up some more and keep them short. They're gonna be short, little 30 minutes, just nice little time fillers. If you're making dinner, throw them on and get some laughs. That's pretty much all it's about. And then obviously season 8 we have coming up. We'll be doing Monday nights, 7 p.m. Central. We have the primetime slot on that every Monday night after the episode airs for all of our first time, recaps and feelings on it and all that. But then at the same point, I'll be in everybody else's streams and channels watching or guesting if I can, as much as I can.
Yeah, you'll all be first time watchers in that aspect. So you'll all have the first time watchers on the wall reactions to season 8 almost. It'll be so fun to watch you and Abby all be first time experiencing it for yourself. Because I know that's a huge thing on your channel was Abby's first real watch through, and how you guys really acclimatized yourself to the YouTube space. And yes, if you haven't, make sure you set your reminders to go watch Drinks and Nose when they come live. It's on Geek Chat 1, the Facebook page or the event page for that in Geek Chat 1. Make sure you do that because it'll be awesome. I swear, we'll have really good thought because they'll all be first-time watchers. And yes, make sure to check out Ben. His links are always in the description, and yeah, we'll have a fun time. I was going
to say thank you again, Kenzie, for having me on. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad I was able to actually get one of these in. Everybody, tell your friends about Kenzie. She does a fantastic job, and this is so much fun. So if you get the chance to join on for an episode with her, do it.
We're barreling towards the end, but we're gonna just do so many awesome things, and we have so many people that just I've enjoyed being on with me, and it's kind of interesting to do podcasts without Johnny because he's only got to do one this season so far, and because we're going to give Johnny a little bit of a break because he's always on with me, but I know he'll be back very soon if you miss him. on these podcast editions. He'll probably be back very soon. But
You got the same haircut with me, at least. So
yeah, you get the other version of this lovely experience. But yeah, so you can find me here on my channel, where on Wednesday night we will be doing season 6, episode 9, Battle of the Bastards, one of my favorite episodes of this show and series in general. And you can also, and then subsequently afterwards, we'll be doing season 7, episode 3 the week after, and season 7, episodes 5 or 6 for April 10th. And if we can swing it, we will do the Dragon and the Wolf as a live stream the day of the season 8 premiere. But yeah, you can also find me on Johnny's channel, and you can also find me on Cylon Johns every Friday night around 9 p.m. Eastern. It's an awesome time. Last Friday, we went off the rails. It was so fun. Go check it out. It was just awesome. Even if you don't watch the show, just watch us about 2 hours in, and we just go nuts. But thank you so much, Ben, for joining me today for these 2 mega episodes of Game of Thrones. And we'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.